Hello, welcome back. GovDoc Breakdown, no opinions, just facts and summaries of government documents and policies. Today we're back May 8th, general terms for the United States of America and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland Economic Prosperity Deal. So, obviously this is the beginnings of the first trade deal that has come about due to the tariff policy that the president has implemented over the last few months. One thing we need to understand in terms of this document is that it is not a legally binding trade deal or document yet, but it serves as a blueprint for the way both sides, the UK and the US, want to move forward in negotiating an economic agreement, right? So three main objectives of that economic agreement. One, boost trade between the US and UK, creating well-paying jobs in both countries. Two, cut red tape so it's easier for American and British companies to do business with each other. Three, build a long-lasting, future-ready economic relationship that treats both countries fairly. All right, so let's get into the guts of this bad boy. Trade deals, baby, let's go. Tariffs. Both sides will lower tariffs on products that are important to the other countries. The tariff cuts will be coordinated and reciprocal, and the U.S. will also at some point possibly lower tariffs on some UK territories that aren't actually the main body of UK, so like overseas islands and stuff like that. So some specific examples here on tariffs. Beef. Currently the UK limits US beef imports with a 20% tax on certain amount of beef. That tax will be removed and larger amounts will then be duty-free. I think it's around 13,000 metric tons of beef will come in without a tax into the UK market, and the US will also then adjust its beef import practices to return the favor. Ethanol, the UK will allow 1.4 billion liters of US ethanol to enter without tariffs. Cars, the US will allow 100,000 UK vehicles in at a 10% tariff rate, which is lower than other countries' automobile tariff, and will also work to provide a deal for car parts. Steel and aluminum. So this is where if the UK meets the US standards for manufacturing these materials, like steel and aluminum, obviously, the US will come up with a figure on how much they will allow into the country with a non-tax exemption. They will also negotiate for better prices on each other's pharmaceuticals and continue to work to add products from other industries as the years move forward. Okay, so that's tariffs. Let's now talk about non-tariff barriers. Basically, both countries want to make regulations more compatible so businesses face fewer obstacles when trading with each other. So think about two countries, so US, UK, they might have different regulations and rules for approval of products, which would cause them to have an inability to trade with each other. So here, they want to align those regulations and approvals so that there's no barriers to trade at all. Basically, opening up the markets for each other. So think of things like agriculture, where both countries are going to work to align their food safety standards to open up each other's markets and trade in farm goods. They will also recognize each other's testing labs and certification bodies on products that require it to help cut time and costs for businesses. The blueprint also mentions things like digital trade, economic security cooperation, and furthering new trade and investment opportunities. The two countries will also work on topics like intellectual property protections, labor practices, the environment, etc. Also, the last thing I do want to highlight here that's mentioned in the blueprint is that either country can exit the arrangement with written notice, and there will be a review process put into place to make sure the deal stays fair and beneficial over time. Basically, this is the starting gun, at the track race, and both countries are off and running and negotiating and looking to get the actual deal done. So we'll be interested to see what the actual terms look like when this gets approved by both countries. But yeah, first trade deal and really getting worked on. So remember, do your own research, form your own opinion, keep your mind open. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.